Hey, She Slayers, it's your host, Lauryn Brunswick, and this is actually your intro to the intro. So when I recorded, I decided I was going to be really cool and wear a windbreaker. Apparently that wasn't the best idea for the intro. I'm just kidding. I didn't wear a windbreaker, but wouldn't it be cool if windbreakers were back in? Anyways, something happened a little weird with the audio to the intro portion of today's interview. The interview is beautiful. It's perfect. The intro is still really important for you to listen to. I just wanted to let you know your headphones are not broken. There's a really funny story in there, so it is worth listening to. But just in case you're like, what the hell, Lauryn? Are you wearing a windbreaker? Are you in a wind tunnel? Are my Apple pods, your pods, broken? No, they're not. It's Kirby's fault. Per usual in my life, anything that goes wrong, I just blame him. So don't worry, it gets better. Still worth listening to the intro, but then the audio gets perfect when I get in with Molly. So here's your intro to your intro. Enjoy my intro. Hey, She Slayers, and welcome to another episode of She Slays the Day podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauryn Brunswick, and today we are talking about something very near and dear to my heart, Instagram. Yep, I know. You either love it or you hate it, but you know you can't hate it because you need it. It's a hard, complicated relationship, and today is your therapy, everyone. All right, so sit down, buckle up. Might be one of those pen paper ones. Molly drops a ton of information because she's so wise. There's very few people that I actually that sounded rude. Let me take that back. There are only a handful of people that I turn to within chiropractic. No, it still came out snotty. Well, all right, here we go. We're still going. There's only a few people that I reach out to and trust their Instagram advice, and Molly is one of them. I choked on it quite a bit because it felt mean, but it's the truth. Before we go into that, though, I just need to tell you about my run yesterday. So here I am running, and I have this 80s workout playlist that came on, and Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody came on. And the very beginning of that song is a trending audio on Instagram right now. And I wanted to cry. I didn't, though, because I realized that there's a whole fuck ton of you that don't know while you're watching Reels and TikTok that 10 seconds is part of one of the greatest songs of all time. And you've never heard it. And that's not even the best part of the song. It's just the first 10 seconds of the song where she's going like, yeah. And then she goes, woo, you know what. Okay. Anyways. So yeah, the best part of that song is non-question is later when she says, I want to dance. Yes, I want to dance. Something like that. I'm not going to sing for you, but it's way later in the song, and it's anyone who's heard it is like, yep, that's the best part of the song. If you're running, you may or may not be doing a lot of arm motions and lip syncing it. So what I need from you is if when I say, Whitney Houston, I want to dance with somebody, you go, never heard that song before. I'm not going to tell you to pause what you're doing because what you're doing is listening to me, and that would be a bad host thing to do. But I need you to promise me you'll go listen because this is important to me. And I take my influencer status I'm honored to be this, and I take it seriously. And so I need you to go listen to that song if you have not. And everyone else who knows the song, yeah, you're like, oh, I haven't listened to that song in a long time. Add it to your playlist. Okay, so let's do a listener highlight. This comes from Dr. Natalie Cairo on Instagram. It's all Instagram today. And she says, amazing podcast. I've been binge listening. I can't get enough. I'm solo in practice, so it feels like I have company with me during my lunch break. And that's what I'm always hoping for. I'm hoping you guys are hanging out with me and listening to my jokes and thinking I'm funny. We're just all a bunch of friends here. Okay, so today, back to Molly. So Molly Cahill's actually been on the podcast. She's joined this is her technically third time. I've done a couple Instagram lives with her. I don't have her previous episode off the top of my head because I don't know, 150 some episodes in, and I'm doing my best. But it was a while ago. Kirby will put it in the show notes because that was a really good episode. We dropped a little mini a couple weeks ago, like a month ago. But today I have her on because we're talking about basically outsourcing your social media. I mean, that's not like the broad. We're talking about like mistakes that a lot of chiropractors make. But one of the biggest things when I have chiropractors, honestly, even chiropractors who love social media, but they're really busy. And so if you love, so you're kind of like in this, like, you're either meh, indifferent, or you love it. So for those that are like me and you love social media, inevitably you start to realize that you can't put as much time into it as you need in order for your social media to be good. And you're like, this is great. I love creating reels. I like all this, but I have patience I need to adjust. And so then you're kind of like, so people like that, today's going to be great for you. But then there's also this whole group of you that are like, can I hire that chiropractor to come to my social media? Because I hate it. This is also for you. Molly has great recommendations for both of you, and then everyone else who's in the middle, of course, you're gonna get stuff. So she came bearing gifts. She is the Santa Claus of Instagram, and so there's gonna be a link below. It's mollycahill.com/She Slays IG. And there are multiple freebies in there for you. She has a content planner, and then like a hashtag little like mini library thing. She's going to like tell you about hashtag and what you should be doing and what to be looking for. That is a big question that people are like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Again, if you're hashtagging hashtag chiropractic, and you're trying to get local people, you may or may not be doing it wrong. Yes. So go get that freebie from her. Link is below. And then for everyone who falls in love with Molly, like I am, are, whichever preposition you're supposed to put there. I don't know if it's a preposition. I made that up. Anyway, if you fall in love with Molly, like I did, there we go. And you are interested in her holistic marketing hub, I put her in a chokehold and I said, you give my listeners a discount. It was a virtual chokehold. She could have tapped out if she wanted. No Mollies were harmed in this. I'm just kidding. I really didn't have to twist her arm. She likes the podcast a lot. And so she is giving $100 off to anyone who goes and checks out the hub and buys it. So that is going to bring it from $9.97 down to $8.97. She talked about the hub today, so like I'm not going to sell it right here, but I kind of am by saying that what you'll see is that if you are someone who has a CA or an associate that you're like, yeah, I would really love to pass the reins to you, this is a wonderful course for them to take. We're kind of in that switching of CAs. I had a CA that I had like trained and like loved and had done social media, and now she's like staying at home. And I'm like, oh, I'm so happy for you. Not. I'm kidding. I love her, but I'm not happy for her because it negatively influences my life. And as we know from lots of my therapy sessions, aka episodes, I struggle with caring about other people's needs more than my own. It's a work in progress. So that being said, I have a new CA taking over social media, and this holistic marketing hub is going to, beautiful for them. So we're going to pray. Oh, wait, I didn't give you that link, the $100 off link. Oh, you guys want that? It's below too, but it's mollycahill.com/She Slays HMH, Holistic Marketing Hub. All right, let's pray and let's do this. Take a breath. Release that tension from your shoulders and your chest. Relax that jaw. Keep your eyes open if you're driving, please. Where are you right now? Where's your brain at? Are you solving problems that do not need to be solved in this moment? Be a good doctor yourself. Follow the self-care that we instruct our patients on. You are not in fight or flight right now. You're safe. You're here. You're doing something good for yourself. Yay! Like, maybe you didn't shower and you're beating yourself up about that. Maybe you snapped at your kids today. But you're back on track. Look, you're probably going to drink water at some point. If you're not, go ahead, drink some water at some point. And you're doing something for yourself right now. So give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing a great job, I promise. And you'll get around to showering at some point. I love you. And we don't know each other. Maybe we know each other. Maybe you're my mom. Hi, Mom. But I want you to know that I'm obsessed with you and your journey, whether you are a chiropractor or not, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, whether you're in healthcare or not. I'm obsessed with us not doing this alone. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being my friend. And I hope that you get as much out of this conversation as I did. Be good to yourself. It's hard out there. All right. In your name we pray. Amen. That wasn't really prayer, but it was a moment. We connected. We took a breath together. Okay. So here is my conversation with Molly Cahill, the IG genius. All right, Molly. Well, welcome back to the She Slays the Day podcast.
I'm so excited. When I say, everybody says that. Everybody's like, oh, I'm so excited to be here, Dr. Lauryn. I really am. Like, I've been looking forward to it. I'm on coffee cup number 3, so I'm ready.
Cold brew, baby. We've officially entered cold brew season. Do you make your own cold brew?
No. What I do is the lazy man's cold coffee, which is like whatever's left in the pot, I put in a pitcher and put in the refrigerator.
Okay, that's great. Are you a cold brew person though? Like, do you?
Yeah, I don't discriminate coffee. I love all coffee.
So I do love the lazy man's coffee, or cold brew, but on Amazon, you can I'll send you the link. Actually, we'll have Kirby include the link in the show notes below because I am obsessed with this. So I got this for my birthday present a couple of years ago. It's like this $40 make your own cold brew thing. It's so easy. You just take like a package of coffee grounds and put it in this thing and add 4 cups of water and you let it sit for 24 hours and then like push this button and it drains into this little cute flask and it's like concentrated coffee and it's delightful. Like I will choose that in replacement of Starbucks when I have it in my fridge because it's that good. So
what's your creamer of choice or do you do nothing?
So I'm keto. No, okay. What's weird is I can do hot black coffee. I cannot do like just straight cold brew with no sweetener or like I need a little bit. So I typically will do a sugar-free. I know. Like all the chiropractors are gasping right now because the aspartame is killing me and my microbiome. But I'm keto. Okay. Like back off. So I'll usually do like a sugar-free Starbucks creamer. Just a little bit though, just enough to break it up. So.
Yeah, just a little bit to get the bitter out. I love it.
Okay, but anyways, welcome back. You have officially joined a very small group of people who have made it on twice.
I feel
this is technically 3 because we released that that mini.
Oh yeah,
I know. I think there's a jacket that like a blazer that's coming in the mail for you. It's like a green, it's like the SNL blazer, the 5-time. It'll be coming. You can wear it proudly. It's fine. So the reason I actually wanted to pull you back in is because our clinic just went through a transition where we're in I don't know stats on how many clinics are large, but like we're like a 9 or 10 person clinic. We're officially at the point where I've lost track of how many official employees we have without like counting like happy. And so we had one that was basically our social media person and she was amazing, but she's pregnant and is going to just stay at home. She's going to stay at home, be a full-time stay at home, which I'm so happy for you. Oh, happy. So happy. And so then we're down one and we had lovely social media before, but it was costing me, I won't say how much her salary was, quite a bit of money. And so now my husband and I are like, okay, what do we do? Do we hire a person to manage our social media, or is there a way to do this that doesn't require a full-time person? And I'm like, you know what? Hold on. Before we make a decision, I want to talk to Molly and see, because I know this is like what you do for a living. And so I wanted to I wanted to talk because I know even if you're not like in this other realm, because there's kind of like I'm telling you, but like my thought is that there's like these 2 buckets where you're like, well, we're really busy
and we have this social media that's rocking and rolling. So we need a full-time person for it. But then there's also the other bucket of somebody who's like, well, it's just me and this one person. But this one person is doing all of this stuff. And so anyway.
So did you purposely not tell me you were going to ask this? So too bad this isn't video. Do you see my like inner reaction? I'm going
literally, I mean, this is what it's like being a guest on this podcast where you're just like, oh, wow. Okay. So that's what we're talking about.
No, this is so exciting because this is precisely after doing this for 3 years, why I have the suite of services that I do, because I have something that meets people at all of these different levels. And what works for one, like literally yesterday, I got an email from a student who had just enrolled in my Holistic Marketing Hub program. And she was like, hey, you know what? I changed my mind. Can you just do it for me instead? I'm like, sure. It's like everybody has their own.
This is too hard.
Everybody has their own way. But then there's people like with clinics like yours. And that's why I have Holistic Marketing Hub, because then they have their staff go through it and use my content library. So it's like, I know everybody likes to think that they're super unique, and I'm not saying they're not, but at the end of the day, for content, like with chiropractors, you don't compete with another chiropractor in another state. Like there's only so many ways you can talk about eustachian tubes and, you know what I mean? Like it's not all that novel, you know?
Well, and we have like an actual topic that we're going to talk about and train on. So like, leave it to me to like get completely off on a tangent.
Okay. This sets it up perfectly for this.
You sent me, because when we were talking about like, okay, maybe I should just do the Holistic Marketing Hub instead of hiring someone. You sent me it to like, well, you're just a little sneak peek. It's because I don't know. I'm a wing 4. I don't know if you're familiar with the Enneagram.
Oh, yeah, I'm a 7.
You're 7. I love, of course, a 7 became a social media expert. But you're a 7 who cares more about other people's pages instead of yours, which is so a 7 thing, not a 3. Like, because I've heard you talk about how like you really care about other people's pages more than your own.
Well, I mistyped as a 3 the first couple times, but then so like we just got back from Disney World and I did not post at all while I was there.
Yeah, that's not a 3 thing. No.
I'm just like, no, I'm in the moment. Woohoo,
I've said this multiple times before. How the way I found out that I was 100% a 3 and not a 7 is I was like, so if you're between Enneagrams, and you're like, I'm mistyping between a 3 and a 7, or you
that's
can do
super
any
common. 3 and 7 are super common mistypes.
And the number one thing that came up was, okay, you are on a luxury cruise. Basically, they said like this amazing vacation. And you get to experience all this awesomeness, but you're not allowed to post about it. Like 7s will be like, that's fine. And 3s are like, oh,
I remember you asked Dr. Alex Pancoke that with Kindle. She's one of my clients. And so actually she was, now she's a student because she hired somebody to go through Holistic Marketing Hub. So yeah, she started out as a done for you client and now she's a student in the program instead. But yeah, I heard you ask her that and I was like, oh my gosh, I am totally a 7. And then I'm in a mastermind with Kate Kordsmeyer and I heard we had an expert come on Tuesday and it just clarified it even more. I'm like, I am 100% a 7.
I went to this amazing spa and with girlfriends, it was like a weekend girl thing. And they have like a 0 phones policy. And as we're checking in, I literally said like, are there any exceptions for social media influencers? And I'm joking. I'm like joking, but the guy just straight face is like, I can ask my manager. And I'm like, okay.
Like this asshole.
Exactly.
Okay, so I gave you access to Holistic Marketing Hub and you got in and the email you sent me made me
I'm a wing 4. Faint. I'm a wing 4. So which means that I'm a 3-4, which means I think nobody can do it quite as good as I am. And so I was like very skeptical. Not going to lie. I haven't told you that. But I was very skeptical that it would be in my voice because, I mean, I'm 11 and a half years in practice. We have perfected our brand and our voice. And I just really thought that I was unique. And I got in there and I'm like, oh, this is how we talk. Oh, and it's already done. And it's just, I don't know. It was just amazing.
You know why? It's because I'm not a chiropractor. I am your ideal patient. I go adjust, I get adjusted every week. My daughter gets adjusted. I've seen it all. It took me 8 years to start getting consistent care. So I know like what were my, what made me not get consistent care. I was one of those only go when I hurt type of people for a long time. And yeah, I think your exact email was something to the effect of, I mean, I knew it would be good, but I'm kind of blown away. And I was like, yay.
I am official. Like, what do they say that people only, like when people, you meet their expectations, they don't leave reviews or like things like that. Like people only leave reviews when you exceed their expectations. I was officially like, this exceeded, and you can like take stuff and like change your color so easily.
Yep. There's Canva templates and we put them all in neutrals and then you just plug in your own fonts and colors if you want. And
I think that's the other thing is I'm so not tech savvy. So I like, which is funny. People get surprised when they're like, wait, but you love social media. I'm like, yes, but I am a technology idiot. So I just like started clicking things intuitively and it was doing what I wanted it to. So, I mean, honestly, even as like a not tech person, I was like, oh, this is
thank you.
Easy.
It's definitely my labor of love. I only have one kid. She is 5. And I joke that the Holistic Marketing Hub, especially the content library, is my second baby because it is years and everything in there's been vetted by another provider. It's not like because what we do is we take a lot of the content for our done for you clients and repurpose it into something a little more generic.
Sorry, you keep saying done for you. What is?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I have ADD. I'm like, what is a done?
So I can follow you.
What's a done for you client?
So we have at the moment that we're recording this around, I think my last count was 18 clients. They're not all chiropractors. We have some functional medicine and NDs and we even have like our CBD company, but we have Instagram management clients that the people who are like, I don't want to open Instagram, just do it for me. I literally have one chiropractor in Poway. They're adorable. And I don't think they've reviewed any content we've done in like a year and a half.
She's just like posting cold brew recipes.
Because I know the industry and I know like if I'm going to talk about something even remotely controversial, I run it by them like, hey, here's a post about the immune system. Are you cool with me posting this? Or like we just did one that, that new research that came out about Tylenol and pregnancy. I was like, hey, I've got this post about, there was a new study that came out about Tylenol and pregnancy. I think I was a doctor in another life. I'm like legit. I think I really was. There was a study that came out about Tylenol and pregnancy pretty recently. And so we wrote a post about that. I'm like, are you okay using this? Or is this like a little pushing the envelope, I kind of know when I can just post something and run with it and when I can say, hey, so we have Holistic Marketing Hub. And then we also have Instagram management where it's just like, I don't want to think about this. Can you just do this for me?
Okay. That's what you mean by the done for you.
Yeah.
I was like, you're using a phrase okay. So you've been doing this 3 years and like, do you have a preference? Do you like the done for you versus like and then what's the hub? Sorry. Now what's the difference?
So the Holistic Marketing Hub I used to tout it as DIY, but then I was like, that's not accurate because you're still getting so much of the content already done for you. So Holistic Marketing Hub has buttons. Yeah, you can just plug and play. But that's what feeds the Holistic Marketing Hub content library is. And by this point, at the time of recording, we're up to like over 250 posts in there. And we add. Wonderful. Yeah, we add to it every month. So we take requests as well. Like we had nothing on like auto accidents because that's typically not the type of chiropractor I serve, but I got one who was, and she was like, hey, can you add some auto accident stuff? I'm like, sure. So we do take requests, but but the reason the reason Holistic Marketing Hub is the way it is I didn't want to just have a content library portion because as you know, what you post is only one part of your overall social media strategy. So that's why we have the virtual classroom portion of it where, I actually teach you how to use it. And I update it all the time because we were just talking before we hit record that Instagram changes every other freaking week and it drives me nuts. So I'm always updating the virtual classrooms. And then that's how it started. This is like the 6th iteration of it. And then I was like, well, people still need, like people are craving, especially after the pandemic, like that one-on-one support. So then I added monthly coaching to it and it's in a group setting, but people ask individual questions. So I'll audit your individual account, answer individual question, whatever. So it's kind of Holistic Marketing Hub has three portions: the content library, the group coaching, and the classrooms.
Oh, that's
And then
really
done for you. It's just like, here's my pictures. See you later.
Yep. Yep. You mentioned Instagram is changing. So I had the Reels course. Okay. And God, I think it was like a year and a half ago now. And I keep intending to like re-release it. But first of all, I'm like kind of on the fence as to whether Instagram, yeah. But like I love Reels, but I wish there was a way that Instagram would allow you to not let it go viral. Like that's like the opposite, right? So I'm like, I don't know. And then Instagram changes every week. So I'm like, well, if I re-release the same thing, I would have to go in and make all these changes. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. I think I just let social media people do it because
I had another female chiropractor that's kind of in a similar space to you. It's so funny. She was like, yeah, I was going to redo my marketing course. And then I decided just to refer people to you. I was like, okay. I'm actually in process of completely redoing the Reels classroom as we speak. I used to have it as like a screen mirror on my phone. And I was like, people's brains just don't. So now I literally have taken my husband's phone and put it on my ring light and filmed myself doing it on my phone. Cause I feel like your brain sees it. You're like, oh, so yeah. So I'm totally redoing the Reels classrooms as we speak, but
yeah. Cause people want to see like, that's what they get down to is the nitty gritty of like, no, wait, what button did you push? So yeah, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing in my life. Just go follow somebody who actually knows what they're doing with their life. Like mine. Okay. So the whole point we were going to talk about mistakes.
Yes.
The common mistakes.
Yes.
Working with chiropractors. So tell me, let's start.
So over the years, I have kind of siphoned it down into these 4 overarching main mistakes. And these are not super granular. They're more just overall the mistakes that I see. And the first one, and this is big, is measuring what?
I said, we're starting with a big one. Okay.
Yeah. This one's big. Measuring social media success based on follower count, comments, and likes. And look, I get that, thinking that, hey, these are the things that people see. This is what's going to make me authority. And I totally understand why people would think that that's their way of success. It's not like, oh, I can't believe you think that. I mean, why wouldn't you think that? That makes complete sense because
it's designed to make you obsessed with that. It's
right. Exactly.
Gamified.
Yeah. So you're not wrong. Like you're not wrong for thinking, you know what I mean? It makes complete sense why you would think that. But when you are not an influencer and you are an actual business account, no matter if you're in the health and wellness space or not, your full-time job is not marketing. Your full-time job is, seeing your patients or clients. So there's so much more to it than the outward metrics. There is a lot. I always say there are a lot of very popular broke ass people on Instagram. So I'll take my own content as an example because like I said, I'm a cobbler's child, but I had a reel that got mediocre views, 3 comments, but that one reel got me a new client and has made me thousands of dollars because she's a recurring client. So really it's more about, and we can't in this span of time go into, you can go listen to the insights. Go listen to the insights episode.
It was probably about a month-ish ago. You find it.
Go listen to the insights.
Kirby will put it in the show notes.
Oh, thank you, Kirby.
There we go. That's why Kirby has to edit and listen to these with a fine tooth because I'll just be like, I wonder if Kirby can insert Unchained Melody right now. I just add these little things in to see. Anyway.
Well, yeah. So go and there is a time to want to warrant more comments, likes, whatever. There are certain posts that we teach inside Holistic Marketing have certain types of posts that are, that is your goal of that post is to get more comments and likes. And we talk about that too in that episode. But really, if people aren't clicking your website, if people aren't visiting your profile and then actually picking up the phone to become a patient or client, that's where you really need to measure your success. So that's mistake number 1.
So that is one of my favorite things about you versus there's a couple other, again, I will never say names, but there's a couple other social media promoters within chiropractic that are well known, that I've heard them talk and they're all about viral reels. And I'm like, okay, so I know I'm not a professional social media person, but I am a really damn good chiropreneur and business person. with a brick and mortar. And I fundamentally disagree with like 50% of what I've heard some things said, because I'm like, no, they're missing the point. Wait, what are they talking? Like, they're basically encouraging chiropractors to get distracted and obsessed with going viral, which is part of the problem that I see chiropractors burn out, because they're chasing the wrong things. And so I'm just like, every time I've heard you talk, this is one of your things where you're like, you care, your time needs to be well spent if you're going to be there. And time well spent is not about vanity numbers. It is about, it is about money.
So a quick tale of two viral reels. So I have one student, she's not an Instagram management client, but I have one student who recently went viral, and she's a pediatric chiropractor. And she now, when she looks at where her followers are coming from, a lot of them are coming from India. I can't remember where else it was. She still has her town as like one of her top 5, but it's not her top. So that can happen. However, we have another client who is one of our Instagram management clients, and she's been with us for years, but she had a reel go viral. And by default, all her other reels now are getting more views, and her somehow, I don't know how the algorithm is. So that's why I always say it's an art more than a science. Somehow she has managed, and I'm talking viral as in 3.4 million views. And somehow she's managed to keep her cities still around her area. And she said, and I quote, "Our phone is ringing off the hook for new patients." So I'm not knocking, like it's not always terrible. Like, don't freak out if you do go viral.
Does she
but
live in a major metro?
She lives in a big town. Yeah, she lives in
Absolutely.
Raleigh.
So that's the other thing is like, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've had this conversation with somebody who is in Dallas, and they're like, I don't know, when we go viral, like it can. And I was like, oh, you know what? That's a good point. You live in a huge metro. So Instagram has enough, like a lot of us don't.
I'm so glad you said that. I didn't even think about that, because we just had another client go viral this week on like a pregnancy labor reel, and she's in Dallas. So I'm anxious to see. It hasn't been like quote viral long enough for me to know what the results are going to be, but that's a really interesting fact. But the other thing, going back to chiropractic and the nervous system, you got to protect your nervous system, because as you've seen firsthand, Dr. Lauryn, she got some nasty comments in the, like, that's child abuse. Don't touch that baby with their underdeveloped bones. Where's the evidence on this? I'm like, do you want me to just delete these so you don't even have to see them? She was like, yes, please.
Yes, please. Oh my God. I think you're officially hired just to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Number 2.
So that's mistake number 1, measuring social media success based on follower count, comments, and likes. Mistake number 2, I think you'll have a lot to say about this one. Having no clear strategy of what they want to accomplish by using Instagram. Thinking that, hey, all these marketers just tell me to show up. I'm just supposed to show up, right? And we know that consistency is a good thing. I'm not knocking consistency, but if you're consistently doing something with no goal in mind, I liken it to, we just went to Disney World, and I mean, it was easy enough to probably figure out how to get there. But what if I just been like, I hope I end up at Disney World. And then when I don't put it in my Google Maps and I don't end up at Disney World, I'm mad about it. I'm like, you have to have a map. You have to have a clear direction of where you want to go. And I wish I could give you a specific, there are no specifics. Everything is, like I said, more of an art than a science. But there are a lot of people, well, I tried XYZ and it didn't work. So if that ever happens to you in your marketing, then I want you to flip the script and think about your practice. If you've ever had a patient come in and say, well, I tried chiropractic and it didn't work, and they got one adjustment, think about, or 2 adjustments or whatever, think about your marketing in those same terms. You really have to stay the course, and yes, be consistent, but know what your goal is when you're being consistent. And it can be super specific. If you're a practice that's already on a wait list for patients and you're super saturated, not saturated, but super busy already, then your goal can simply be, hey, this is a great value add for our patients. It's trying to get our current patients to come back. And that's your goal. If you're brand new and you're trying to just get new patients, then then your goal is trying to get new patients and you focus all of your efforts into that one goal. I've even had clients who've told me, hey, we really want to get more pregnant patients. Okay, cool. All your efforts go into that one goal. For how long? I don't know, at least a month, if not longer. If you're going to have a sale on supplements in your office, you can't just put up one post and think people are going to come buy your supplements. Or if you're having a free workshop for moms, you need to promote the heck out of it for consistently for at least a month.
Is the 8 to 11 or like marketing thing, because that's like what we've been told.
Yes.
11 years ago, not pre-social media, but kind of pre-social media. That was a thing within marketing. Is that still stand within?
It's funny you asked that. I was just researching this 2 weeks ago, and I still a lot of people call it the marketing rule of 7, but I have seen some say that it takes up to 22 times now. I mean, I just bought some Thrive Cosmetics eyeshadow and it took me a year. Okay. It took me a year of seeing their ads.
Road. So when you're working with someone, how difficult is it for you? Like, I just picture chiropractors not really having much of a clue as to what their goal should even be. Like, I feel like how difficult is it for you to help guide them to finding their goal?
It's not. We've gotten really lucky where we have fired clients before. I'm never going to fire a chiropractor though.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, oh my God, what did okay.
No, I was not. It was a fitness influencer. It's like, there's a reason this is not my niche. Honestly, I've been lucky. I did have one who recently came to me and he was like, hey, here's some of my overarching goals. And I want to get to 10,000 followers by this. And I'm like, wait. Why? And, and after I talked to him about it, he totally was like, oh, that makes sense. But again, that's all we've been told. Going back to mistake number 1, we're told that's how you're, quote, successful. So I totally get it. Mm-hmm. Typically, no, it hasn't been that difficult and we don't do generic. So I'll give you a perfect example. We have essential oils account. And it's just it's all Young Living, all essential oils. And I've just been disenchanted with their results. And that's why it's like, we're not your typical agency, right? Like, it's not like we're just like, you're just another cog in our wheel.
Right.
I was like, let's completely, and the owner is very hands-off. She has a full-time job. She inherited this Young Living business from her dead mother-in-law in the will, which I think is just insane. I didn't know you could will that. And she's like, I don't know. I've got all this downline now. Like, what do I do with this? So we were just posting all essential oil content. We're like, okay, this isn't working. So now in May, we're going to only talk about mental health because that's something really important to her. And if you don't already follow Branch Basics, I love to look to them as a guide for chiropractors. It's such a good brand to follow because every single post isn't Branch Basics, use my cleaner, use our cleaner. It's a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So we are in May doing a total switch. There might be a post about just how to find access to a good therapist where we don't even talk about oils at all. But we're really niching down that account. And that is our goal now, is to draw in, instead of just being another generic essential oil account, we're going to just really double down on the mental health component.
And so I think it's interesting. You said like, she's completely hands off, but like you're looking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, okay, we're going to make this better.
I texted her. I said, hey, I know mental health is important to you. She has a daughter with bipolar. So I said, I know mental health is important. Can we just run with this? And she's like, yeah, I trust you completely. Like, go for it. I'm like, cool. So everything we have planned out for May is completely mental health focused, and we'll see how it goes. But it was just too generic, and you have to pivot, right? And
my mouth is dropped right now. Because I'm just thinking, like, selfishly, how wonderful it would be. Like, because I'm the CEO, right? Like, I love our social media. I love social media. But like, if I had somebody who was like, hey, this is underperforming to my standards. I have an idea and I'm going to handle it. You okay with this? I'm just like, did we just become best friends? Oh my God.
Well, I want you to have good results, so then you'll be my client forever and tell more people.
Well, and I think that is really different too than some other, like, I will say, like, done for you stuff where it's just like, oh, no. Like, you got the product, whatever, if it's successful or not, I don't care. But like, you just really care about
Oh yeah.
your clients,
Mhm.
like possibly more than they do.
And so do I have two, I don't even want to call them my virtual assistants because there's so much, they literally make my business run. I have two assistants in Indiana and I'll get texts at like 9:00 at night. Did you see how many views Dr. So-and-so? Like we genuinely get excited.
That is awesome.
So anyway, that's mistake number 2.
Clear strategy.
And is not having a clear strategy. And don't overthink this. Don't be like, oh, what is my strategy going to be? Just think about, if you don't know, think about maybe, hey, where's my top moneymaker? Or hey, I'm full with patients right now. Could I run a promotion on supplements? Or
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you see, do you see people when they get to like, okay, my numbers are doing great, I'm happy about the current growth I have over these last couple of months? Do you see them completely pull away from social media because they feel they, air quotes, don't need it as a marketing tool? And then they come back to their social media on a week where they have low numbers, and then they find they have crap engagement because they abandoned it for the last few months when they, air quotes, didn't need it?
I mean, probably. I don't know.
You probably don't, because you don't let them pull away.
Yeah, because we're doing it all for them. We did have a client leave us, not because she wasn't happy, but because she had a patient who was also a photographer, who was going to start doing it for trade. And then she came back and she's like, this is more work because I'm having to rewrite everything. And she's like, it's more, obviously we're more expensive, but it's because you don't have to look at it. You don't have to change anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's, the clear strategy and just not being afraid to stay the course. And, you can pivot when you need to, just like I gave the example of the oils account, but we stuck with that for 3 months before we pivoted. And we were like, okay, this isn't really working. Let's pivot.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So mistake number 3 is, and this one's big for clinicians and probably for 3s on the Enneagram, getting too caught up and getting it right. So they just do nothing and they're afraid to experiment, and they get stuck in that inevitable Tinkerland infinity loop.
I would say that's more of an Enneagram 1 thing.
Oh, is that a 1 thing? So more than I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're perfectionists.
Yes.
But 3s, we really like to praise. But yes, the fear that it's not perfect.
Mm-hmm. Let me change this font. Let me move it around. Should I say this instead of that? I see a lot of social media marketers who are like, I've never archived anything. I'm real. You can look at what I'm like. Who cares? That's not a badge of honor. Archive something if you want, delete something if you want. I always say there's a delete button for a reason. And I put out a reel a couple weeks ago. You know how I learned how to use Instagram? I just started pushing buttons. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I just started pushing buttons. So don't be afraid to experiment. And this really, and I understand why people have this thought. It makes complete sense because you think, wow, this is the internet. This is public. Whatever I put out there is going to be there forever. I get it. But again,
like doesn't have to be out there forever.
Yeah. What if I told you the delete button exists for a reason? Yeah. And it's just, and sometimes I have to do done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Done. And I have to kind of continually, it's not like I'm immune to this. I mean, I'm getting ready to put back up my evergreen webinar, and there's a few things on the video I don't like. And I'm going back and forth. Do I just re-record the whole thing or just do it, Molly? Re-record the whole thing, So I get it. I'm not immune to this. A lot of these mistakes, I always say it's things we have to learn ourselves, right? If we're teaching other people. So just don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to put something out there. And if you want to hit delete. And yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect.
And I feel like what really gets away, so like I don't identify with the perfectionism necessarily that a lot of people do, but where I identify with this is in the paradox of choice. So I get like, I may be like, okay, I know I want to do a carousel about Webster technique. So I'm like, yep, I've got my clear strategy. I know what I'm going to say. And then I get in Canva and I'm like, okay, what picture? Ooh, which font? Oh, okay. Should I do this squiggly line as like, let's do a blank. Like, and I had to stop doing carousels because they just took too long because I just got so in the weeds of designing a post. And that was, again, like kind of come back to when I got in, that was one of the things about the hub that and the content library that I was obsessed with. Cause it was just like, once you have like a rough draft, right? Like I can go like, oh, okay, that font's great. Right. Okay. The only thing I want to do is change that color. Right. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Good. I'm supposed to put a picture right here. Cool. Cool.
Yep. They're all templates ready to go.
It's just like that removed so much time, much time for me to be like, here you go. Like here you go. Here is the template. Yeah. That was a big one for me, is because otherwise we would get caught up in the designing.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Like we knew the message, we knew this, but it was like, should we right center or right align or left align? And like, it doesn't look like there's enough. Why does it look so cluttered? So yeah.
No, I get it. And that's why we have so many templates, Canva templates in the hub, because we've usually designed something similar for a done for you client. And then we just remake it into something neutral and Bob's your uncle.
I think that, we didn't go into chiropractic because we were graphic designers, right? Although we all like to think that we're great at everything, whether you realize it or not, there are certain ads. We'll just call them ads because like, that's what you're putting out there. You're putting out a post hoping to attract people. So like there are certain ads that you are drawn to. And there are certain ads that you just completely skim over, and because you're not a graphic designer, don't think about what made that one different than this one. And so this is where I see so many chiropractors posts that are just easy to just go right over, because somebody with design theory didn't look at that and go, there's not enough blank space. And you're like, what do you mean there's not enough blanks? Like my husband will say that to me sometimes. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, your eye just scans right over it and doesn't do anything. And so, yeah, it's nice to just have, because I have opinions, but like, who knows if they're right or not? Like, so.
Well, like I said, and it's all beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I mean, I'm definitely not a graphic designer, but
beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but what works.
Yeah, totally. And, that was actually an account I audited. It was actually a chiropractor's account. I audited a few weeks ago. That was one of the pieces of feedback I had for them, was that their graphics had too much text and text that was too small. So yeah, that's something we keep in mind when we design ours. And what I mean more about I see this a lot with clinicians is, if I say it once, I've said it 1,000 times, it's more of an art than a science, because they're like, give me the formula, give me the step-by-step, give me the roadmap, give me the blueprint, And it's not that there aren't best practices, and that's what I teach inside Holistic Marketing Hub, but what works for one person might not work for another. And I know that can be so frustrating.
Yeah, because we just want to take advice and be able to apply it blankly across everything. And it's like, nope, you're unique. Yeah.
Okay. So the last mistake, and you already mentioned this, the last mistake this is my downfall. This is the one I fall into the most. Getting distracted by new trends and shiny object analysis paralysis. So you think, well, this is why I have told every single one of my clients, I'm like, unfollow Instagram creators account, unfollow.
Oh no. Really?
Because all of their advice is for creators who have the time to be on Instagram all day. That's not you. You don't. So I will give you my friend Mia. She's in Australia. She's a brilliant marketer, and she and I are actually planning an Instagram live, but it's hard when you're trying to plan something live with someone across the world. But we both just preach marketing foundations. When you have these foundations in place, then you can start to have fun and, but just chasing trends does not a strategy make.
What do you mean by marketing foundations?
So that's actually the next, this is a perfect segue. So
I planned it that way. Totally.
I know. It's so good. So marketing. So I said, the analysis, shiny object analysis paralysis. So after I discovered that these were the overarching 4 mistakes that I see, I zoomed out and I thought, how can we fix this? And I call it my holistic marketing method. That's why Holistic Marketing Hub, how it got its name. In the holistic marketing method, it's nothing fancy. It's literally just and you can't see this because we're on audio, but it's literally just an infinite loop of you start with strategy. That's if you think of it as a pyramid, think of the strategy as the bottom. Then you, on top of that, you have your content. On top of that, you have your sprinkles, which I'll explain what that means. And then on top of that, you have your sales and you repeat this cycle. So strategy, we already talked about that. You got to know where you're going. So I'm not going to continue harping on that. The second piece is the content portion of the holistic marketing method. So once you know where you're going, then you can start to create content around this end goal. So don't start creating content before you got the bottom of the pyramid, your strategy. Mm-hmm. So once you start creating your core base content around where you want to go, then you can add in what I call my sprinkles. And that's that Dr. Lauryn loves plants. She's a crazy plant lady. You know, I'm going to do a dancing reel because that's my personality. I'm funny. Or I'm going to do a very serious reel where I'm literally showing you a skeleton because I'm more clinical based, you know, whatever. That's where, oh, here's this fun, this trend, this viral audio is really funny. I'm going to use this. The sprinkles is where I know that's a silly name, but it just made sense to me because a cupcake, you know, you can eat a cupcake without sprinkles, but the sprinkles kind of make it like awesome. Unique.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, that's pretty. That's unique. That's your flair.
Your flair.
It's what the sprinkles is what makes someone choose you versus the chiropractor down the street.
Yes.
Okay. And then on top of that, once you've set this beautiful foundation, that's when you can start selling and actually seeing results from your marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Mic drop.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. It's a really clean way to think about social media that keeps it from getting overwhelming, because it just gets so overwhelming without a clean path and like someone kind of like guiding you to do it. Okay. So what I think I know the answer here of like kind of what I should do, but what would you say to someone who's like, okay, why would I hire someone like you versus hire someone like locally to just come in and be like a CA who also does my social media?
Well, and you can do that. And you could have the CA go through Holistic Marketing Hub, which on our monthly calls,
because then I wouldn't have to train them.
Right. I have people do that all the time. I feel like I know them. It's so funny. Dr. Kimmy Chernicky, I don't know if you know her, but her CA got on the other day. I'm like, I feel like I know you because like I always see her, you know, she's the one that gets on the monthly calls. And a lot of people have me add their admin or front desk email as the login for the hub. And they're the people that get on the calls. They're the people that actually implement the material. So you can do either way. And if you don't want to worry with that,
I was thinking, I was like either I hire someone and I have to train them, or I would like pay you to do it exclusively if I had somebody who was interested. And that's also really nice too, because if you have an employee that you don't feel you're maximizing, or they really do like social media, having them be like, basically you're professionally coaching them.
Yeah. And then you're learning to do it yourself and it's easier to make pivots. And the other beauty of that is you've got somebody in your office that can take pictures and videos too, if you want. Mm-hmm. I mean, right now our clients, we're always harping on them, like upload your reels, please upload your reels, which is fine. So it really just depends. And then I've had people do all kinds of hybrid things in between. I just had a chiropractor in Las Vegas who bought Holistic Marketing Hub and my top done for you package on the same day. And I was like, did you mean to do this? He was like, yeah. He's older. And he goes, I have a new associate in my office and I want to show him that I'm not a dinosaur and I want to learn how to do this for myself. But I also don't have time to do it. So I want
you to do it until I figure out that I can do this.
They really do work well. I mean, we've also had, I told you about the client who she hired us for 3 months and then just to do it for her. And we build all of our stuff in our client's Canva account. So then if you do just have us for 3 months and then you decide, okay, cool, I've got this solid foundation, I've got all these graphics already in Canva, and then you could have a CA take it over, take the hub and have the content. So I've had people do all different variations.
That, yeah, I like that. I like this. I'm like, okay, well, now I have to get on a separate call where that's not recording. Go like, okay, what are we doing here? What are we doing with my?
I gotcha. I would be.
Do people like? What are some of the biggest objections that you have when you're talking with a chiropractor?
So a lot of people say, I'm too busy for an online course. Well, that's why I always say, like, this is not really an online course. It's kind of one of those, like, take what you need, not, leave what you don't type thing. So you can, like I said, hire a virtual assistant, hire a CA in your office, a patient who wants to do it. They can go through the hub for you. Or I have one student, Dr. Nicole Short. She's just like one of the, I bet she's an Enneagram 3. She's just a whiz. She was like my model student who went through the course bit by bit. She's getting 7 new patient referrals a week from Instagram now, left her associateship, so I built it for busy people. The online classrooms are not that long. And even if you're in a busy season, then you can just not use the classrooms at all and just use the content.
Right.
So that's one objection I get. Another one is what we already talked about in the beginning. People kind of think, well, this isn't going to be in my voice or whatever. And we literally have things like insert your call to action here. So, you might not have online booking for appointments or whatever, and somebody might else. So you that's not a great example of how to personalize a post, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't write y'all or you guys in the posts. Okay. So like you can put your own little flair on it. I'm trying to think of some other objections I commonly get. Oh, this has only come up once, but again, we already kind of covered this in the beginning. I had someone say, well, I don't want my content to be the same as everyone else's. And I was like, oh, I flatter myself to think that would be a problem. I have 130 students right now, and there's about, 1 million of y'all. So, yeah. And you put your own colors, your own photos. Like, I promise you, I have so many students now too. And that's basically my feed is full of my students. And I'll be like, oh, look what they did with that post. That's so unique. It'll be my content library post, but it looks completely different from someone else. It's just so cool to see what everybody does with them.
Yeah. And okay, like do you have people who are concerned that they don't know enough, or that like or the reverse, that like this
Yes.
is, I know so much, why would I?
Yes. I'll address the latter first. One of my students, Dr. Erin, she's so cute. She's like, I thought I was Instagram savvy, but I still learned a ton. There's some advanced things in there, like a cash flow plan, which teaches you how to run a promotion on Instagram.
You can't see my eyes, but I'm like, what the fuck is that? Cash flow plan?
Well, just like if you want to be like, hey, I just spent, $800 or whatever on this thing. Like I want to recoup my money. You can see how to run a little promotion in your office. And all the time, people who think, like even my friend Chelsea, she's a gut health coach. I just started doing hers. She'll ask me questions sometimes that, and I'm saying this not out of like, you didn't know that. I'm saying this as like, it helped me a ton because she was asking me what I thought was a super basic question, because she's got more followers on Instagram than I do. And she was asking me what I thought was a super basic question, but she didn't know. So just because you think, you have to remember, like, this is just like you assume patients know that their posture affects how their pain is, but they might not.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I used to think posture was rolling your shoulders back.
Right.
My whole life.
Hold them back. Right. Yeah.
And that's not posture.
No.
So, and I've been to my chiropractor for a third of my life, and literally until I went and got Rolfing done. Have you ever had a Rolfing series?
I haven't had it done. Does it feel good or does it hurt?
My girl, it did not hurt. And she said, if it hurts, they're doing it wrong.
Okay.
She says time over force is what she said.
Okay.
I did not hurt at all, but she was like, why do you keep doing that with your shoulders? I'm like, I'm standing up straight. She's like, no, that's not how you stand up straight. So to address the people who think they know everything, I would challenge you to say you still will learn a lot. And then to the people who are complete novices, there is a Instagram 101 pre-lesson, whatever it's called.
Okay.
It's like, here is how you post a post.
Okay, good. So yes, wherever you're at on the spectrum.
Yeah. It's not one of those things that you have to progress linearly.
Yeah, no, I think you said that right.
Yeah. You kind of take what you need and leave what you don't.
So how does, like, if I were in a position where I was like, all right, I want to work with you, I'm not really sure. I think I understand what the heck all in or do it for you versus like, you don't really seem like a super like salesy person. So I would feel comfortable getting on the phone with you and giving you just where I'm at in life. And
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what you need because I mean, that's not all altruistic. I want you to continue working with me. So I want you to be happy.
Well, that's what I thought. You know what? I love what you said. That's exactly what I say to patients when we talk about like our wellness care is cheaper. Like it's cheaper than our active care patients who are new to sign on. And I say like, well, it's because I want to keep you forever. So like, I want you to come as little as often and pay as little as possible. So you stay forever. Like, forever. So.
Yeah. That's something I didn't, you mentioned that after 6 months. So the Holistic Marketing Hub is only 6 months of access. And it's designed that way for a reason. It's because, you talk about your Reels course, for example. It's like, it's not one of those things like you buy it and then I don't ever look at it. Like I'm always in there making updates and tinkering. And then there's the monthly calls and then we add to the content every month. So it didn't make sense to be hey, you buy it one time and you get it forever because I pour so much into it.
That doesn't work with social media. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 6-month container and then you can renew after 6 months for it's almost half price. I think it's like $3.97 or whatever. It's ridiculous. And if people do want to join Holistic Marketing Hub, you have a coupon, which is
I have a coupon.
She slays.
Good coupon choice. Yep.
Yes. And it's $100 off. We'll link all of this in the show notes and
Kirby,
we can also, Kirby. Now I'm telling you now.
Yeah, Kirby, make sure you link that in the show notes.
If people are like, I don't know what the heck I want. Everything's on my website too. If you just want to go peruse that. And then, or you can just book a call if you want. I can put my discovery call link if that's easier. Well, some people just want to get on the phone and talk to a human. I get it.
Yeah, we get overwhelmed. Easily.
I know. I've been on that line of like, I don't want to give people too many choices, but also at the same time, it's really not that many choices. We can either completely do it for you, or you can take the class and you could still have somebody do it for you, but it doesn't have to be you, or it can be you.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Okay. I feel a lot more confident going forward with my social media. So I feel good about what
you want to tell your listeners what you think you're going to do, or you want to talk to me first?
I think I am going to buy the course and I don't know. I'm kind of selfish. I kind of want to take it, but I don't want to be doing my social media. So but you said I can add a CA, right? So like I can buy the course and like me and a CA.
Yeah. You get a +1.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Can I use my own coupon?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Why not?
Right.
Why couldn't you use your own coupon? Of course you can.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Molly. Expect that jacket in the mail for being on the She Plays Today podcast. And I will make sure that we have links down below. People listening, if you are Kairos, or well, I suppose if you're not Kairos, I don't know, if you're not a Kairo, I don't think Molly wants to work with you necessarily. My mom, you don't want to work with my mom, do you?
What is so I do work. If you aren't a chiro, there's tons of because I know a lot of chiropractors do functional medicine. There's a ton of functional medicine content in there, just so you know. The sales page for Holistic Marketing Hub has a tour of the content library. But yeah, there's tons of functional medicine content. And then there's just like a lot of general health content as well. Like, here are 5 tips for a better night's sleep. So it's not all chiropractic. I work with anybody in the health and wellness space.
Okay. Well, lovely. Thank you so much, love.
No, thank you. I really, really was excited for today. I appreciate you.
Good.
I can't wait to welcome your listeners into the family.
Woohoo! All right, She Slayers. Check out the links below. Go stalk her. Go watch the video, the tour of the hub. And like bare minimum, if you're on the fence, like book a discovery call. Yeah. Because obviously, as you can tell, she's incredibly nice. You're so easy to talk to and not like pushy on sales. So like, I truly believe that you have the best interests of like the people you're going to talk to, you know, of like what
really
is
do.
going to work best.
I just had a poor woman who went through that whole functional medicine nutrition course. It cost like $5,000 in Montana. She bought Holistic Marketing Hub. She's like, Molly, I don't know what to do. I just found out I can't actually practice in the state of Montana. I'm freaking out. And I just wrote her back. I said, do you want your money back? And she's like, oh my gosh, I wasn't going to ask you, but like, I was like, girl, I'm not an asshole. Like, if you can't use this, you can't. So I just gave her. She's like, thank you.
Yeah, you're so sweet. So, all right, She Slayers, go stalk Molly, and yeah, like I said, reach out, tell her what's going on with your life, and not your life. I mean, you can tell her what's going on.
No, I love that too.
She probably cares more about what your social media marketing is, figuring out your strategy.
Care about it all. I'm a people collector. I love it.
Because you're a 7. That is such a thing a 7 would say. So, all right. Until next time, She Slayers. Bye.
Bye.